What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers,
My name's Dabby Cabin. This is the first ever NCAA.
Say hey, everyone. Welcome into another edition of Say Hey.
We are back. UFC Paris, as they say.
Welcome to the MLB Gambler's Guidebook to the 2022-2023 MLB offseason. We've already covered the American League, and today we bring on two people you should know well, and we get after the National League and Connor Mack and Chris Gargaro, a.k.a. the Spin Doctor. We got a lot to talk about, so let's get right into it. National League West. Padres win total under-over is at 93.5. People who left: pitchers Sean Manaea, Mike Clevenger; position players Josh Bell, Brandon Drury, Jurickson Profar, Will Myers, and Jorge Alfaro. No trades were made, while free agency and re-signing Xander Bogaerts, Adam Engel, Matt Carpenter, Seth Lugo, Brett Honeywell, Nelson Cruz re-signing Nick Martinez and Robert Suarez. Coaching changes. They lost their hitting coach, Bradar. There will be no hitting coach. They're going to go with two assistant hitting coaches, Scott Coolbell and Ryan Flaherty. Under the radar minor league signings: Julio Teheran, Pedro Severino, and Craig Stammen. Mr. Gargaro, what grade are you giving these Padres and why?
So grade for the offseason, definitely B plus. I think that they did an overall pretty good job. I wasn't really that impressed with Manaea last year. I thought that he lost a lot of spin on his breaking ball. He lost some zip on his fastball. Just really having trouble getting guys out. And I just remember specifically towards the end of the season for K-prop unders, was targeting him, especially against NL West opponents and especially against the Dodgers, because there were a few games where they just pounded him. So, overall, I think that they did a pretty good job. Obviously we have a absolutely stellar top list of guys, top of their lineup. After that, depth, maybe not as much as you would like to see, but overall, yeah, I didn't mind what they did at all. And I think it still keeps them in contention out west.
Sweet. Connor Mack, same question.
Yeah, I give them a B. I'd say. How good, these we can get into with these signings. I just think they're wild, but that's the money it goes right now with baseball. But 11 years for these guys, I think they only have 3 or 4, and they're going to get paid. And most, I think, might not even be playing baseball. That's a whole nother thing we could go down. Obviously, just the news. Darvish, they re-upped him. I think the rotation will be good. They got Cruz. I think he could help some of that bottom of the order platoon type guy for them. I think they did all right. I think they were super happy after last year beating the Dodgers, and then that was their World Series, Sharpie would say. So I gave him a B all around. I thought it was all right. B minus. And they don't have the best farm system too, as they've given away some pieces. So a little B there for them. And their win total, you touched on Sharpie, 93.5. I think it's about right. I'm not going to mess with it. I would take their under win total if I had to make a bet on it. But I think they'll be right there. If I had to, though, free bet, I'd take the under.
Yeah, 100% agree with Connor there on the under for the win total, especially with some, even you talked about the lack of depth in their farm system, even the lack of depth that they have on their main roster. So you have to figure, when you still have the Dodgers in your division, you still have a number of competitive teams in the NL. And with that lack of depth, if they go to their bench a lot, it probably might, I don't think it leads to a ton of regular season wins, but then obviously they can load up for the postseason. So I would for sure lean on the under, and I'm probably going to bet it myself.
CBS Sports gives this team an A, and I ended up giving them a B. They lost 2 starting pitchers in their rotation that ate up innings. I get you. I'm not a Manaea fan. I'm not a Clevenger fan, but these guys started for them, and they didn't replace them, in my opinion. So they went out and got a bunch of people, but not starting pitchers. So there is a bunch of aces up for contracts this year. So I expect this team to be even more bigger buyers when the time comes. The Dodgers took the offseason off. We'll get into them next. This is the time, if there was a time, for the Padres to win. And I said it last year, by signing Bob Melvin, this made this team relevant. It's not all the fucking players they got. They got themselves a coach, guys. So Bob Melvin is got money ball with actual money to spend right now with this team. So I expect the Padres to go all in. They solidified their back end by giving Suarez some money. They've got Hader. They've got a nasty bullpen. It's just more of who do they go get at the trade deadline for me. So I ended up giving them a B because they didn't go after starting pitching right now, but it will be available. Dodgers win total under over 96.5. People who left: pitchers Tommy Canal, David Price, Cade Krimble, Trevor Bauer, Tyler Anderson, Andrew Heaney, and Chris Martin. Position players: Trey Turner, Justin Turner, Edwin Rios, Cody Bellinger, Kevin Pillar, and Joey Gallo. Trades: they traded for JP Verizon and Miguel Rojas. Signings and free agency: Noah Syndergaard, JD Martinez, Shelby Miller, while re-signing Clayton Kershaw and Tony Gonsolin. No coaching changes since 2021. Under the radar minor league signings: Bradley Zinner, Adam Kolarek, and Jason Hayward. C-Mac, what grade are you giving our Dodgers and why?
You know what? I don't think it's a total bomb. I just give it a C for them. Not signing Turner, I thought was fine. Trey Turner, Justin Turner, it was time, I think, as well. His stick, he could go somewhere else though and probably hit 270. Cody Bellinger, I wish him luck. Hopefully he can turn something around and do it.
Just
Obviously they signed Kirk. Yeah, oh man, can't hit the Heat anymore. But I don't know. Hopefully he has some success with the Cubs. They got Heaney back. What do you guys make of with not having them sign Anderson and letting him go after the career year?
They let Heaney and Anderson go. Heaney's now on the Rangers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let him go.
Really,
bro.
Anderson, but
a lot of these starting pitchers come to LA and have career years. We fix people, bro. That's why I was bummed about Syndergaard, but I watched Syndergaard have a better year than he did last year. I sure as fuck won't bet him, but I mean, we turned people's careers around, bro, pitching and hitting. Look at Justin Turner. He was a bum when he showed up. Look at Max Muncy. He was a bum when he showed up. We made these guys. But
yeah, I think Syndergaard, I don't know if he's got enough left, but come to LA should help out. I like JD Martinez. I think the lineup's fine at that price that they got him. The jacks aren't there, but if he could pop 20, the guy can still hit doubles. Obviously, his feet are bad. And the pitch, I think, will be fine. And they have the number one farm system in all of baseball. So I didn't think it was crazy, and they're saving money in the end. And by the way, they're not going to win 100 and whatever it was, 11 games they won last year. I even see 95s. You mentioned there, depending on where you get it, it's minus 120. That goes over. Like I said, they might not win 100 and whatever, but they went over 95 and a half games this year. It's just in the postseason. And a guy like Gonsolin probably has another decent year. But now it's all about the postseason, and this guy just doesn't have it yet there. So it's all talk with these Dodgers until go time. So regular season, I take their over on that win total.
Yes, sir. My guy Chris, same question.
Yeah.
Great for the Dodgers.
Win total over for sure. That was one of the first ones that I looked at. There's more than enough. There's just more than enough talent, top to bottom, on this roster to win 96 plus games. That's even with, I see a whole bunch of places that are saying like F minus, D minus, F for the Dodgers. I don't get it. I think that a lot of the national media just looks at what names came in and what names went out. And so they had a lot of names leave. And so inherently that makes it look bad. But when you look at, Connor, you said it all about all the guys that left. It's like, how many of them do you realistically look at and as Dodger fans are like, God damn it, I wish we still had that guy, right? Probably not a ton. So I would probably go. It's hard for me to go higher than CC minus, and that's just because there really wasn't a lot that was fixed or plugged or what have you. But that's because they don't have many holes to begin with. So CC minus for me. And yeah, I'm just not that I'm not even a Dodger fan. I'm not even that upset about any of the guys that left.
Because I'm not even a Dodger fan. Oh yeah, well, CBS Sports was harsh on my team. They gave us a freaking F. I'm gonna go. I can't go that harsh. I'm with C-Mac. I'm at a C minus. I could be harsh and give them a D, but you can't go for it every year, guys. And that's what the Dodgers have done for the past 10 seasons. I expect us to make a giant push on Ohtani next season, and by doing that, we freed up a ton of cap space next season. So we still have one of the deepest starting rotations in all of baseball, a solid bullpen. To me, it's the position players. Our outfield is a bunch of no names. We're starting Trace Thompson out there. It's just like, there's some guys out there, but it's time for Turner to go. We've got a stud in Vargas, bro. This kid is going to rake. It's about time we get a third baseman who can hit. So bye-bye, Turner. Kick rocks. So I give my team a C minus, and that win total, I'm not going to bet it over, but there's no way in hell I'm betting this team's under when they win year in and year out. They just win. They know how to win, guys. And this is the year there's no pressure on the Dodgers. They did nothing. They're not the team to beat. This is a deadly, deadly team when they have no pressure on them, guys. They're very scary. So, yeah, don't fade the Dodgers when everybody's screaming Padres. Giants win total under over 80.5. I'd tell you fade them, like it was like we've been win or bust the last few years. That ain't like it ain't go out and win. We're not screaming. We got it. We're not winning it this year. We get it. Cool. Fine. So be it. Watch us make it there, though. That's what's fucking when the pressure's off. Giants win total under over is 80.5. People who left: pitchers Shelby Miller, Carlos Rodon, Jose Alvarez, and Jarlin Garcia. Position players: Brandon Belt, Evan Longoria, and Tommy LaStella. They traded for nobody. Free agency re-signings: Michael Conforto, Taylor Rogers, Mitch Haniger, Ross Stripling, Sean Manaea, and re-signing Jock Peterson. No coaching changes, while under the radar minor league signings: Joe Ross, Stephen Piscotty, and Sean Newcomb. Mr. Gargaro, what grade are you giving these Giants and why?
Yeah, the Giants. I'll touch on their win total as well, but for their offseason grade, the only thing that they did to me was re-sign Jock, and that's just going to allow him to bet on himself this year. So probably is going to have a pretty good season. This is probably like a C minus to a D plus for me. They swung and missed on a ton of free agents. They just didn't really do anything to me to make their team any better than it was last year. So I can't go any higher than a D or D plus. And then as far as their win total goes, just looking at their roster up and down, especially when you factor they lost Rodon, this is like the definition of average for me. This is like 81 and 81.
Yes, sir. I definitely feel you right there. C-Mac, what grade you giving these Giants and why?
I got to give them D plus. I mean, they swung and missed, like you mentioned. The whole thing with Correa and that whole mess with the Mets and then them. I never really thought, I don't know, maybe the money, but Judge, and obviously stayed in New York with their and Conforto, Haniger. I guess they're all right. They re-signed Jock. I mean, they picked pitching. They didn't do much. They get Stripling. I mean, this team, if I were to take their team total, I don't know, if I bet, I'd be on their under. I mean, I just wouldn't be rushing to bet that they win 82 games this year. Third base, we'll see what happens. They got a pretty good guy, Casey Schmidt, down in there. I think he's 22 or 23. He's got some jack. We'll see if he becomes their everyday third baseman. So, yeah, Giants just said they were going to get somebody, pay a bunch of money. Nothing really happened. And, I definitely got to give them a D. I don't think they really improved in many areas.
Sorry, I was just going to ask either one of you guys a question. Is Rogers worth what they paid for him?
Oh yeah, they got Rogers for.
They got Trevor Rogers.
They got Rogers.
I think he's the second best closer in baseball.
$33 million. And that's one of the things that stopped me from going any lower on them, because that was one of the signings that we didn't talk about initially. That I'm like okay. I'm good
I
with
was
that one.
gonna talk about him.
Okay,
I
sorry.
definitely, I know, no, it's all good though. I definitely think that's a big deal signing Rogers to a back end, and even adding Ross Stripling and Sean Manaea. They're gonna eat up innings for a team who was
Yeah.
starting Jake
Inning.
Junis and guys like that, and Long and guys that just didn't belong there last year. So I actually lean their win total over. They're one of those teams that even when they're not in it, they still win. They're one of the class organizations in baseball, sad to say. They don't have down years, and this team total is too low, in my opinion, for a team that didn't overbuy on Judge or Correa because they understand what's out there in the market, because they're a good organization. They could have overpaid. They could have signed the dude with a bum knee. They could have went after Judge and offered him even more. No, they didn't. They're smart. They know how to spend their money, and I definitely don't. I'm not a big Stripling or Manaea fan, but they're definitely better than who they had. So I'll give them a D+.
Real quick, they're inning eaters, but I don't see them more than that though, Sharpie. I mean, let's say gambling wise, I wouldn't be crazy about betting the over. I mean, they could win 84 games or something, but yeah, I mean,
yeah,
that's
it's up there, but 80.5, it's about right. It's about
See, I think if they go over, it's not by much, and you're sweating it all year, all season.
I agree.
Man, though you might get the Roger brothers combined, lefty, Submariner versus lefty. Bam, bam, 8th, 9th inning guy. Okay. The one brother just could throw weird. All right, guys. D-backs win total is over 75.5. The people that left pitchers: Ian Kennedy, Humberto Castellanos, Caleb Smith, Tyler Gilbert. Position players: Sergio Alcantara, Jordan Luplow, and Dalton Varsho. They traded for Gabriel Marino and Lourdes Gurriel, and also traded for Kyle Lewis, the 2020 Rookie of the Year from Seattle. Free agency re-signings: Miguel Castro, Evan Longoria, and Zach Davies. Coaching changes: Luis Urieta is now with the Marlins and held the title of Major League Player Development Instruction. This will be filled by a few different guys, bringing in a Reds assistant coach, Rolando Valles, and some in-house people to be moved up. Under the radar minor league signings: Juris Familia. Connor Mack, what grade you giving these D-backs and why?
I gave him a B. I give him a B- here. It's still, to me, it always comes down to the pitching in Arizona. And we'll see how it can work out and in that ballpark and what happens. But I like Moreno, Gurriel. They got, I don't know how much he can do. Maybe he's got a couple years left with Longoria. Their team total, though, I don't think I'm going to get involved in this, but it's 74.5. I think it's about right there. I wouldn't make a bet on it. They could surprise and maybe get over this number. But yeah, I thought they did all right for the D-backs.
Hey, so did CBS Sports, but I'll get into that when it's my time. Chris, what grade did you give these guys?
B+. I really, it's not something where like I'm going to the mountaintop and screaming how wonderful or fantastic that they did, but also the fact that they're still saddled with Bumgarner's massive salary, and probably at this point aren't willing to go into luxury tax. I think that they made the most of the opportunities that they had, and what I'm really excited to watch Corbin Carroll this year. Certainly, I mean, he's probably going to start from opening day. I'm sure going to have a lot of hype around him, and I totally hear what Connor was saying about the pitching. I don't know how many more years Mad Bum has left to even be effective. Obviously he was never really a strikeout pitcher to begin with, but strikeouts have completely fallen off the table. So I'm not sure how many years he even has left as like a number 3 starter, but overall, when you do have Gallen and Kelly, and you do have at least one team in the division in Colorado that's very, very beatable on any night. I like the over here. I actually like him to win about 80. And I think the other thing I think is that they probably will still be at least somewhat in contention for postseason by the time the trade deadline rolls around. And so then they'll be buyers, not sellers. So, when teams effectively decide to tank at the end of the season or play a bunch of young guys. So I think that they'll still be somewhat involved. And like I said, I like right around 80. And, with another good offseason, you could be looking at a really, really good team out in Arizona.
CBS Sports gave him a B+, and I gave him a C. I guess I'm the only hater of these D-backs, guys. The only thing I like them doing really is trading for Moreno, but he still hasn't shown any capability really in the major leagues. He's done all his damage in the minors. So trading for Kyle Lewis should be a big addition if he could stay on the damn field. I mean, like Vince Scully says, the best availability is availability. So you got to be there, bud. And they only got two capable starters going into the season, and Gallen and Kelly. Their bullpen they didn't address, and this team just doesn't spend money, bro. And when they do, they spend it the wrong way. They do got a young kid who will contend for Rookie of the Year. They brought up last year, but I just think it's gonna be more just flashy funness. Watch them steal some bases. Blah blah. I can't bet them. I think their win total is about right. With a lean to the under personally.
But
Rockies,
I like what you mentioned real quick with Carroll. I think he's good. Lawler at short. I think they got some, and we'll see what Moreno, can do.
I like Marte
this
too,
year.
though. I mean, they've got some young guys, bro. They got, but their rotation is iffy to me, other than Gallen and Kelly
and the pen
and their pin. It's just like, ugh. So we'll see, though. If they are, like Chris says, if they're in contention, then they're going to be buyers. I mean, well, who wouldn't be? I think this is the year that the Dodgers technically took off. And it'd be surprisingly who's going to be fighting for what come trade deadline in this division. Rockies, though, win total under over 67.5. People who left: pitchers Chad Kuhl, Carlos Estevez, Alex Colome, Scott Alberg. Position players Jose Iglesias, Garrett Hampson, and Connor Joe. Traded for Nick Garcia, Connor Siebold, and Nolan Jones. Free agency re-signings. They only re-signed Jose Urena. Coaching changes. Hensley Mullins named the new hitting coach, where Warren Scheffler named the new third base coach and infield coach. Under the radar minor league signings: first baseman Harold Castro, and then they signed 11 different pitchers to minor league contracts that have different levels of major league experience. Chris Gargaro, what are you looking at, and what grade are you giving for these Rockies?
D-, maybe, if I'm being kind. Everything that they did, even just hearing some of the stuff that you mentioned, I was just thinking, I mean, they wanted, they wanted Nemo, they wanted Bellinger, they wanted a starter. They got absolutely none of those things. And when I look at this roster up and down, I mean, Kyle Freeland or Herman Marquez, I guess, are their number one starter. And it just sounds dirty to say. I mean, I go across their roster, and 1 through 5, their starters all just kind of look the same as far as talent goes. So then you also factor in, is Chris Bryant going to stay healthy? Who knows? So this is an under for me. If the Nationals were in the American League, I would actually say bet on the Rockies to have the worst record in the NL.
I'm pretty much there with you. C-Mac, same question. What grade are you giving these guys?
Yeah, I think it's the D-. I mean, more of an F. I mean, they didn't do anything. This team, it's going to be rough. And we all know pitching and Coors, and like you mentioned, all just a bunch of guys in minor league contracts. They don't spend money. It'll be rough. And we know they'll win games at home by hitting, and they'll get roughed up on the road. And I think, if I had to bet it, I'm not going to be involved at all. I'd lean to the under. I don't know how they win 70 games. I think that'd be a success if they did.
Hey, I don't know how CBS Sports gave these guys a C-. Whoever's giving grades needs to be fired immediately. I give these guys an F.
No.
An F, as in fuckboy. And I wish I could go lower than that, guys. The owner of this team doesn't give a damn about anything other than his wallet, not keeping players, not paying players. He bashes the Padres for spending money and has expectations of an 80-win season. Yeah, bud. Get out of here with that. They signed 11 minor league pitchers, trading for Connor Siebold, and re-signed Jose Urena. They're wishing and hoping for a freaking miracle in Colorado, guys. That wishing and hoping was in Jerusalem about 2,000 years ago. So that's done sailed and past the Rockies, guys. It's under for this team's win total, and I will be betting it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad that you mentioned it, because I was going to bring that up too, about the guy that's such a cheap ass that he does shit like this and then bitches at the Padres spend.
Oh, hey, Noli brought that up to me. He was like, dude, go read this guy's article. This guy's a cuck over here, bro.
He's such a cuck.
This guy seriously expects his team to win 80 games, bro, with the roster he's putting out there. Oh, God. Oh, God. Do me a favor, guys. Smash that damn like button if you can. Go hit that retweet on our page. I know we've had to change the time 30 different times, but appreciate y'all for hanging in there. National League East. Let's get into the team who probably did the most on this side. Mets. Their win total under over 95.5. People who left. Pitchers: Taijuan Walker, Jacob deGrom, Chris Bassett, Michael Givens, Tommy Hunter, Trevor Williams, Trevor May, Jolie Rodriguez, and Seth Lugo. Position players: Tyler Nyquin and James McCann. They traded for Erlisser Hernandez and Brooks Raley. Free agency re-signings: Kodai Senga. I know I'm saying his name wrong, but I'll be on this motherfucker. Justin Verlander, Jose Quintana, Adam Ottavino, Tommy Pham, Omar Narvaez, Danny Mendick, John Curtis, David Robertson, re-signing Daniel Vogelback, Brandon Nimmo, Carlos Carrasco, Edwin Diaz, and Jeff McNeil. Coaching changes: Eric Chavez will be promoted from hitting coach to bench coach. Jeremy Barnes will take over as the new hitting coach. Glenn Sherlock, the Mets bench coach last season, will move to a catcher's game calling position. Under the radar minor league signing: Jose Peraza and Abraham Almonte. Connor Mack, what grade are you giving these Mets?
I give him an A-. Well, you just talked about Senga. I think he'll be good, especially early. Just not seeing him. So if you like maybe some of his getting his props, or he might win until the league gets a hold of him. Obviously, draw him out. Just bring in Verlander. Obviously, he's older, but this guy's number one. 2-year, $86 million. They got those two guys, the catchers, prospects, lineups deep. Win now for the Mets. It is go time for them. At the win total, I think they could get there on the over. So I lean that way with the over 94.5.
Yes, sir. Chris, what grade you giving these Mets?
I give him I give him an A, and had they actually signed Correa, it would have been an A+. This is spend what it takes, get the wins, make the playoff run, and Mets owner has followed through on that promise. So even just adding Verlander alone after the season that he had last year, and which to what I thought was a pretty reasonable contract when it came to both dollars and to length and options. So it sounds weird to say for a guy you signed for that much money that that was a really good deal, but it was a really good deal. They did really well there. So I am going to be all about watching Senga this year. So excited to watch him pitch. Probably he won't make my card, Sharpie. I'm sure he'll make yours a lot more than he makes mine. So anyways,
he's
for the
gonna make the card at the beginning of the year for sure. There's very few people I'm betting in April, and he's one guy I've got marked.
Yep. I figured we'd talk about him tonight, but so with the win total, there's really, for me, it's really scary to even think about taking the under here. So it's either a pass or it's on the over, just because of how balanced this team is, how talented top to bottom they are. And they can just pluck guys from their bench. They can pluck guys from the top of their farm system. This is a very, very well-built organization right now. So for me, there is no part. I want no part of an under here. It's over or pass.
CBS Sports gave them an A, and I got to agree with CBS Sports here. I give them an A myself. They didn't overpay for DeGrom, and they got a stud out of Japan for $15 million a year for the next 5 years. He's had an ERA of 3 or less the last 5 seasons in Japan, guys. That's absurd to keep that type of ERA. They've invented a new pitch out in Japan. It's nuts, guys. This guy throws a freaking 98-mile-per-hour fastball with a ghost fork. This shit just disappears. It makes a freaking it makes their other pitch that they made. So go Google search some Sangai fucking ghost fork today, guys, and get yourself on those K props early for those watching this. There you go. He is going to be undervalued at first and then overvalued, but they're not going to have his number as high as it should be at the beginning of the year, guys. So I'll be in on him until they adjust it. But yeah, at the end of the day, this season is, like Connor said, this is all or nothing. They went and got Verlander on a 2-year team opt-out for his 3rd, and he at least has 1 more season in the gas tank as a number 1. He just came back off Tommy John and was the Cy Young, where the same person who had the same surgery and the same exact rehab as Syndergaard hasn't even seen his velocity tick back up yet. So Verlander's found it. Verlander's got it back.
When we talked about the contract short, and that's what he'd probably do. Like, I was like, Dodgers, like, come on, all this money didn't make, like, I thought that can't make a move like that. About that amount of money to get him.
1 more solid year in him, and for a 2-year contract, you pay the man, bro. Like, come on. For that 1 year he's going to give you, but like you said, bro, it seems like we're not going for it this year. We can't spend money every year. We can't. We're still over the threshold and we ain't done shit. We signed Miguel Rojas. Yeah. Fuck. Okay.
They're dumping though. It's slowly coming off.
It'll be back. I mean, Trevor Bauer ate up $22 million, as he was beating women. So back to the Mets, though. Tommy Pham over Conforto is a plus in this lineup, while adding in Jose Quintana as the 5th or maybe even 6th starter makes this team as deep as anyone on paper. Their win total is high, but that's high for a reason, guys. That's the only way I can look as well. Phillies win total. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just to say one more thing about Verlander. You guys talking about, how he came back from Tommy John surgery, but you look at his velo. Velo was up from when he went out, like the year before he went out with Tommy John surgery. Velo for his slider was even, and spin for his changeup was up. So, like, all of that at his age off of Tommy John surgery, like you said, pay the guy.
Something we may need to talk about, but we've known it for years. But I'm worried about Verlander. I'm not worried about him pitching. I'm worried about his strikeouts being there this year. Look at every Astros pitcher over the last few years. Their strikeouts go up 2-3 Ks per night at home. He's not in Houston anymore. How's he going to cheat? He's going to have to find his way. That's all I'm going to say. Your strikeouts don't go up that much at home for nothing. That's all I'm going to say about that. So, and it's with every Astros pitcher. I don't give a damn who it is. So, Phillies, guys, win total. Under/over 88.5. People who left: pitchers Kyle Gibson, David Robertson, Corey Knebel, Brad Hand, Noah Syndergaard, and Zach Eflin. Position players: they just lost Gene Segura. Trades for Junior Marte, Gregory Soto from Detroit as a key addition. Cody Clemens as well as Yarick Yeoman. Free agency and re-signings: Taijuan Walker, Matt Strahm, Trey Turner, Beast Mode, Josh Harrison. Don't understand the Craig Kimbrell signing, and as well as re-signing Aaron Nola. No coaching changes during playoffs last year. They took the interim tag, now off of manager Rob Thompson. Chris, what grade are you giving these Phillies and why?
They got one of the prizes of the entire, of the whole offseason with Trey. And I'm with you on the Kimbrell signing, but some of their other ones, like with Gregory Soto, et cetera, I would go B+ A- for this one. I think that they filled the few holes that they had. They let Eflin go down to Tampa Bay, but I know you talked about signing Nola. I think for me, I would much rather have Nola for the price they paid than Eflin where he was in his career. So, but that's just me. Because I mean, I am a huge Aaron Nola fan. But anyways, would definitely give them a minus. I think that overall, top to bottom, their roster is one of the more talented ones. And the only way I would really look here is to the over. But to me, this just seems pretty spot on.
Yes, sir. C-Mac, what grade you getting these guys?
I give him a C plus, B minus. Yeah, obviously the big one. I think the lineup's good. What you just said, Chris, I think the win total is about right there. If I had to, I'd lean over. Still, the pitching, their bullpen, we'll see. Which was better a little bit down the stretch. Obviously, they had the run in the playoffs. The re-sign Wheeler, and they got the Painter. I think they're really big on this kid, and I think he could be in the rotation, right away. So we'll see how good he looks in spring, and if he's ready to go in the starting rotation.
They're gonna need him for how many starters they lost in their rotation, in my opinion. CBS
he's
Sports gave him an A, and I'm gonna go with you like where C-Mac was. I gave him a C plus myself. They lost 3 starters who ate up a lot of innings for them last year, and only adding in Taijuan Walker just doesn't do it for me personally. And bringing in Cade Kimball, the guy doesn't work good as a setup man, and his days closing on a contending team are way gone. So I just don't get that. I think if I could bet that he'd be gone by the All-Star break, I think he's gone. I just don't think he works out, and he causes a problem in this dugout. Like I just don't get that right there. That to me was just like, what are you doing? Just because you have money, don't spend it. But the addition of Trey Turner makes this team the best lineup in the National League, and adding in Gregory Soto as your closer sure as hell won't hurt you guys. So I will be on their win total over. I'm a giant Nola fan. I'm a giant fan of what this team has done. And they started balls out ass as worse as you can be last year. Had to fire their manager and still made it. So I just don't think they start like that this year. I think they start nice and easy, and their win total's the lowest of the 3 contending teams in this division to me. So, when you've got the Braves and Mets in the mid 90s, and I think you're getting a deal right here on the Phillies. I personally do. I think we're getting a deal on their win total because of who's in their division. But we're not playing the same divisions anymore. We're down from 19 games to 14 this year because we're playing everybody.
Yep.
So,
No, I was just going to say, Sharpie, you said you don't expect them to start like the absolute ass that they did last year. There's just one thing that's missing, one thing that's different from last year, and that would be Mr. Girardi.
Yes, big thing, and the fact that Trey Turner visited with the Padres. My thing is Soto ain't going to be there next year. When Soto's due to get signed, they're going to have to there's no way they're paying Soto $500 million. Who's Soto's best friend? Trey fucking Turner. Soto was at Trey Turner's playoff games as a Dodger sitting up front. He never went to Bryce Harper's. No. But when he went and talked to Soto to go sign with the Padres, he said, bro, I ain't going to be here next year. Watch Philadelphia end up with the Washington Nationals outfield of 5 years ago. Okay? Just watch it, bro. I'm just saying, watch it be Soto, Harper, and motherfucking who else is out there right now? Damn. I just freaking clogged up. Oh, and Turner. So they're 3 studs from when they won the World Series. Watch the Phillies have by next year. I just really think that's what happens personally.
That might set an all-time record for luxury tax. Good Lord.
They don't care. They're like the Mets right now, bro. They're like, they don't care. But yeah, let's get into the next team right here. And it's another team with a high win total. Braves win total over 95.5. People who left: pitchers Ray Jackson, Luke Jackson, Darren O'Day, and Kenley Jansen. Players who left: Dansby Swanson, Adam Duvall, Robbie Grossman, Hernan Perez, Jake Merznick, Pat Valaika, and Delano DeShields. Trades: a whole lot. Sean Murphy, Lucas Lutwidge, Colby Allard, Joe Jimenez, Lewin Diaz, Eli White, and Dennis Santana. Free agency re-signings: Max Fried loses arbitration. Nick Anderson, Tyler Nutsack is re-signed for 2 years as long as Jordan Luplow. Tyler Matzik, for those who didn't catch that. Coaching changes. Brave lost assistant hitting coach to the White Sox, but are not planning on replacing him and sticking with Seltzer and assistant Magnolonius. Under the radar, minor league signings, Jesse Chavez and Kevin Pillar. C-Mac, what grade are you giving these Braves and why?
I give him a B minus. I mean, this team, this just gets stacked. Pretty, I think the 95, whether they get there, is a different story with their win total. You mentioned they got Murphy. I mean, this lineup, Riley's really turned into, probably one of the better hitters in the National League, and he could have just a huge year. Maybe even look to him, put money on his MVP. Swanson gone, but Madison, 35 jacks. The lineup's solid. The staff's good. I think the Braves are ready to go. They don't have a great farm system. I'd say the bottom 3, maybe some places even have dead last. As I've gone through stuff, and but they're a win now team too.
Just like half their team is what?
Yeah,
under the age of 25. You don't need a fucking
exactly. They're a win now. Yeah, they're fine with it. Exactly. And they got another pitcher. They got that Schuster kid. He's a lefty. We'll see if he could, be in the back end of that starting rotation. So yeah, Braves are the Braves. They went to some down, times last year in spurts. So that was the only thing that could maybe, if that happens again, and they could stand under the win total. But I won't be involved in it.
I won't be involved in it. Chris, what grade you giving these Braves and why?
B plus for many of the reasons that Connor said just earlier there. The bringing in Murphy and some of the other moves that they made. I think that this team probably top to bottom, at least for sure for the top 4 starters are top 3 in the National League, probably top 3 in baseball for overall strength of their lineup. And we even mentioned his name so far, Spencer Strider. Especially, I don't even know if he needs to or if he wants to, but especially if he ever developed a third pitch, good God.
He actually worked on a changeup last
year. He
threw it like 6-7% of the time.
Yeah, I know. But with that, just his slider is disgusting. Just disgusting. So anyways, for the win total, this is another one for me where I'm probably not going to be touching it, but it's either over or nothing. This is one of the teams that I think in the National League that can win 100 games.
CBS Sports gives them an A, and I'm going to give them a B. Like you guys said, adding Murphy solidifies the catcher's position for years, and they did lose some bullpen pieces, but did a good job in my eyes in bringing in other people to replace them. They did not replace Dansby Swanson to me, guys, and that's a big piece of this team's success. Their starting rotation and bullpen are top 5 and warrant this high of a win total, but it's just too high in my opinion, and 95.5. If I can get another game, I may be putting some money on their win total under. I expect the Phillies and Mets to be just as competitive, if not more competitive, than these Braves this year. So shout out to Spencer Strider for changing his number to 99, his all-time favorite baseball player, Mr. Vaughn from Major League. It made my day when I seen that. I'm not going to lie.
I love it.
Let's get into the next team. Marlins win total under over 74.5. People who left: pitchers Cody Poteet and Elisa Hernandez. Position players Brian Anderson, Willianis Asadillo. They traded Pablo Lopez for Luis Arias. They traded Richard Blair for Matt Barnes, JT Charquos, and they also got Jacob Amia. Free agency re-signings, they got Gene Segura and Johnny Cueto. Coaching changes: Skip Schumacher is the new manager. Bryant Brown is the new hitting coach. John Mayfie is the new assistant hitting coach, while Luis Ureta is the new bench coach. Under the radar minor league signings was Garrett Hampson. Chris, what grade are you giving these Marlins and why?
This is probably a C for me. They tried to get a hitter pretty much all winter. I mean, they went after Justin Turner. They went after Eduardo Escobar. They went after Abreu. They went after a ton of guys. And then where they ended up was, they were trying to add power and pop to their lineup, and then they added Arise, where, I love him in Minnesota. As a Twins fan and Minnesota resident, I love the guy, but his defense is suspect. He can't play every day in the field, and he doesn't run particularly well, and he doesn't have any power. He hits for average. That's what he does. And so for a lineup where, Segura is going to help, but for a lineup that was trying to add that much power, and then I look at, a number of their pitching staff, especially their starters, past Alcantara, I don't see a lot of good things. Luzardo's always been wild, walks too many guys. Cabrera spent some time on the injured list last year. Rogers up and down. So, and then Johnny Cueto, that's just shit. We have money to spend and we have another roster spot. Fuck, let's just give it to this guy. Sure, he'll eat innings, but I don't know. This just doesn't inspire me at all. This is a clear look at the under on their win total. And I just don't see them improving any from last year. I just don't.
Put yourself in South Beach. Who's going to the games? The Dominicans. So they go out and get themselves Gene Segura, Luis Alvarez, and Johnny Cueto. Huh? So maybe sometimes about selling a little bit of tickets. Just saying, yep. They're definitely going towards that type of crowd, trying to get their region to come watch some damn games out there. So I don't really hate what they're doing. I get the Johnny Cueto signing, not as in a pitching standpoint, more as in the clubhouse to help with a lot of these young kids. They've got so many young kids, like you were saying. You even left out what was it, Garrett? I believe that's his name. Braxton Garrett. So, they've got so many young kids that just haven't put more than a half season together that, maybe they will one day, but I won't be betting they're over. But I love the fact that they got a Segura and a Luis Alvarez for Soler. Will stop hitting solo shots. At least they'll have some people on base for him now. But when you only got one dude who's freaking going to hit bombs, you can pitch around him. So they still need another power hitter to back up Soler, but they got the people in front of him, right? You got a Jazz Chisholm. You're starting the lineup. Their top four isn't bad to me. They're just, what are they going to do after that? So, they're the Marlins. You only got so much money, and they're definitely appealing to a certain demographic right now. Sandy Alcantara, did we not say his name? They're definitely.
No, I did, but yeah.
He's the guy. Yeah. After him.
He still gets no respect, bro. I want to smack whoever did the MLB top 10 pitchers list. How do you disrespect the guy who won the Cy Young and put two guys in the National League ahead of him? I don't get it, bro. I don't get it. This guy just went out and pitched 7-8 innings a game, freaking damn near with his eyes closed, but yet he ain't the best pitcher in baseball. Whatever.
Yeah.
What else you got to do? What are you going to fucking do? Like, fuck, bro. They had a chance to win when he went out there, and that wasn't saying much last year. That was the only chances they had at winning is Sandy Alcantara Day, bro. I learned you don't take K-props versus Sandy Alcantara because his team fucking shows up that day. They want to fucking win. That's the only day they want to fucking win. I'm not saying bet Sandy Alcantara. No, just take the other guys under, bro. They're going to show up that day for him. I hate him. But let's get into a team that's, if I can give them a worse grade than an F, I'd give them a double F. But Nationals win total under over 60.5. People who left, pitchers, Jake McGee retired, Luis Avalon, Anibal Sanchez, Sean Doolittle, Will Harris, Joe Ross, Erasmo Ramirez, Jeffrey Rodriguez, Steve Cishek retired, and Eric Fetty said, fuck you, I'm going to Korea. Position players, Michael Franco says, I'm joining you, bud, but I'm going to Japan. Nelson Cruz left, Luke Voigt, and Cesar Hernandez. They traded for nobody because nobody would have signed with them. Free agency re-signings, Corey Dickerson, Trevor Williams, Dominic Smith, Heimer Candelario, Erasmo Ramirez, and Jeter Downs acquired off of waivers from Boston. No coaching changes, under the radar minor league signings, Michael Chavis, Matt Adams, and Alex Colomé. C-Mac, what grade are you giving these Nationals and why?
D-. Basically an F. This team's going to be bad. I would take their win total. It is low, though. 6. they're right around there if they win that.
They're
What
not
do we
getting
get for?
100 wins. I will.
You
drink
mean
a half
60
bottle of
wins?
Yeah,
You mean
and
100
60
yeah.
wins. They're getting 100 losses. I'll drink a half
Yeah.
bottle of Grey Goose to the neck if these bastards take their win total over. That's how much I'm gonna.
Well,
That ain't happening.
Yeah. What do we get from Strasburg? Can he stay healthy? Patrick Corbin, we all know how horrible it was. Just fade him every time he starts. Josiah Gray was good at times. He still has control problems, as you guys know, with walks, and that hurts him. Will he be a little bit better? Still, he had a 5 ERA last year. This lineup's so weak. There's no one there. It's going to be rough, AC, to go to games. I guess keep it at that.
It's gonna be rough. If you're a Nationals fan,
next.
just go pick up an American League team and just give up this year. Chris,
Oh,
what grade?
Shit, I'll make this quick. F triple minus. I whatever the lowest grade on your scale is, this team is going to be absolutely brutal this year.
The F of spades. The F of spades.
Yeah, I just terrible. There's just nothing that I want to watch about this team. There's nothing I want to follow about this team. Patrick Corbin is still on their roster because of his contract. So under is the only way that you can go on this win total. There is. I don't give a shit how low it is. There's just no way in my right mind I could take an over prop with the Nats. This team, if your book gives you a prop for worst record in the NL, it's probably not going to be, it's probably going to be the worst odds. Fuck, take it anyway.
Just parlay it up. CBS Sports gave him a D. I gave him an F. Obviously, it's pretty bad, guys, when the guys who can play for this team decide to leave and go play in Japan and Korea. They don't even want to play for the Nationals. So this is a bad baseball team, to say the least. So I'm done.
Bad lineup. Horrible lineup. How are they going to score? I know they got prospect. That's years down the line. With the trade, it's just, yeah.
Well, and they have to be sold too, because right now there's no buyer, so they're really limited into what they can do, even trades and free agency.
They got fucked on that Soto trade, bro. They got fucked on that Soto trade.
So
watch the Padres get 10 times better than that deal.
I would actually, I wish you could set a line for like how many more years before the Nationals are relevant again, and with all the sales shit going on, I would say over 3.5 to 4.5 before they're anywhere close to relevant.
Yeah, that's better than the Angels. They've been in 20-something years of irrelevancy. So they're about to join the Angels, in my opinion. They're just going to be bad for a long time. They're lucky they got their World Series ring. Cherish it, motherfuckers. Cherish it. Next up, guys, smash that like button. Go hit that retweet, and we're going to get into the last division in the National League. We've got the Cardinals, whose win total is at 89.5. People who left: Jose Quintana, Alex Reyes, Zach McAllister, TJ McFarland. Position players: Albert Pujols, Yadier Molina, and Corey Dickerson. They traded for Jose Fremlin and Anthony Mizzelwick. Free agency re-signings: the only thing they really did was get Wilson Contreras, and they re-signed Adam Wainwright for another year. I don't know why. Maybe because Adam Wainwright doesn't know how to save money. Coaching changes: Matt Holliday is the new bench coach. Shout out to Matt Holliday. Dusty Blake is the new pitching coach. Turner Ward is the new hitting coach. And no under the radar minor league signings. Chris, what grade are you giving these Cardinals, and why?
This is a C. I guess I understand why they brought Waino back. He's 42 or something like that, 43. The guy can still get people out. And, I would actually have given them a lot lower grade if they didn't bring Waino back, just because when you look at the rest of their lineup and you look at their pitching staff as a whole, not the greatest at all. And so I think that would be something where if they are in contention, they're probably going to have to address sooner versus later. So, as far as their win total goes, I would lean to the under, but it's probably not something that I'm going to bet on. Like you said, Sharpie, Contreras, very, very good addition there. But, I think that the lineup is lacking depth, and it's certainly lacking any top flight pitching at this at this stage. So, I look at even just their starting rotation, and, it looks like 5 number 2 and top end number 2, or, like low end number 2 and number 3 guys. So, to me, I can't go much higher than that.
They're definitely hoping Flaherty has a bounce back season. They put a lot into that kid, and last year he was hurt a lot, and when he did play, just didn't look good. So, yeah, they don't have a number one bit. They have a bunch of, if you call him I'd say Montgomery's even like a 3, and he did really well with Molina. Now he's got to go with a whole new catcher, and it just might take time. 89.5 wins is just too much for me, guys. That's too much, dude. Get out of here. Adam Wainwright, bro. Like, get the fuck out of here, man. But C-Mac, what grade are you giving these guys?
I think he dropped.
Is he gone? Okay, well, if C-Mac's gone, then it's just me and you, and it shall be even quicker then.
And one thing, another thing with our pitching staff, Flaherty and Motts pitched 84 innings last year combined total. Like,
yeah, trust me. And the times I bet Flaherty, he fucked me in the eye hole. So I have a love-hate relationship, thinking he was going to be the guy from 2 years ago, and he wasn't. Yeah, so definitely, I get it. I gave them a C- personally. They replaced Molina with Contreras. I do like that. They did lose Quintana, and that may sound crazy that I'm saying this, but he was really good for them last year. He went every game giving up 2 earned runs or less for the last 2 months of the season for this team. So they didn't refill that. And Adam Wainwright, like, God, they're really putting faith into their young kids that were hurt last year. So if they're healthy, they're going to be competitive. They're the Cardinals. Like, they're just like the Giants in my eyes. They're just one of those teams. Even if they take a year off, they're never really taking it off. They're just a really good, well-coached from or behind the organization and in the clubhouse. On to the next. Brewers win total under over 85.5. People who left pitchers: Brad Boxerberg, Trevor Gott, Luis Perdomo, Josh Lindenbaum, Trevor Rosenthal, Taylor Rogers. Position players: Andrew McCutchen, Jace Peterson, and Omar Narvaez. Trades: William Contreras traded from Atlanta for it doesn't matter who he's traded for. Jolie Payampas, Abraham Toro, Jesse Winker, Owen Miller, Jason Junk, Elvis Pergino, Javi Guerrero, Peyton Henry, and I don't get Bryce Wilson. But free agency and re-signings: Brian Anderson, Wade Miley, and Blake Perkins. No coaching changes, while under the radar minor league signings is Josh Van Meter and Alex Claudio. Chris, what grade are you giving these guys?
It's a C to me. C plus. They got rid of Renfroe and Colton Wong. So, they got Winker. Everything for me just kind of evens itself out, where, I'm not going to sit here and say that, like, this lineup got demonstrably worse. It didn't get demonstrably better either. I am a little concerned with their that they might be overly reliant on their pitching staff. One of the top pitching staffs, especially starting staffs in the entire NL, with Burns, Woodruff, even Lauer in spots. And then if Ashby can get his control and stay healthy. So, I like their pitching staff. I just wonder if they're relying a little bit too much on it with how much offense they got rid of. So, for their win total, 85.5, I mean, any one of these top few teams in the Central can beat any other on any given day. So it sounds about right. Like, I would have their wins right around 83, 84. So probably not something that I'm going to bet either way.
I hear you. CBS Sports gave them a C. I gave them a C-. They lost the only 2 good relievers they had besides Devin Williams, and they're too top-heavy in their rotation for me. But I do like the additions of William Contreras, Jesse Winker, and Owen Miller to their starting 9. I lean the under on their win totals. Like I said, losing Boxenberger and Rogers from a bullpen that couldn't afford to lose them, and that rotation that depends on Burns and Woodruff to do it all. That's just, you're putting too much on two guys right now. And Burns wasn't really Burns last year to me. Like, he was hittable. So, I definitely think 85.5 is just a little too much.
I hear you.
Devin Williams, their bullpen sucked if they didn't get to the 8-9 guys last year, and now they only got a 9 guy. I don't get it. But Craig Counsell's contract is up at the end of the year, and I hope he gets a better team, a team willing to spend some money.
Yep.
Cubs win total under over 77.5. People who left: pitchers Wade Miley, position players Wilson Contreras, Jason Hayward, Rafael Ortega, Framil Reyes, David Bolton, Alfonso Rivas. They traded for Miles Mastroboni and free agency re-signings Danny Swansman, Brad Boxenberger, Cody Bellinger, Jamison Taillon, Trey Mancini, Eric Hosmer, Tucker Barnhart, and re-signing Drew Smiley. Dustin Kelly is the new hitting coach. Under the radar minor league signings, Tyler Duffy and Mark Leiter. Chris, what grade are you giving the Cubs and why?
I would go with a B minus. I do like the signings of Swanson, Taillon, and Mancini quite a bit. The lineup overall still has holes. So, I think that to be expecting more than what they did this offseason might have been a little bit of a stretch because, I know that the Cubs are a universally popular team. And so they have a lot of fans that are out of state, out of the area, et cetera, et cetera. So, with a team like that, you're probably going to get some inflated totals, which for their win total is why I like slightly under. To me, this team is just probably a year or two away from even us talking about them as a contender. I don't like their overall top to bottom lineup to be anywhere in contention. So, until they change some of those things, this is just an average baseball team to me.
CBS Sports gave him a C+, and I ended up giving him a B. They added a lot of major league talent, even if it was just on one-year deals. Signing Swanson to a big contract does set up their infield the way they want to start going, but I'm not sold on their starting rotation. But adding in Jamison Taillon should definitely be a bonus. I'm lost on their win total, to be real, so I have no lean either which way on it. It can go either which way, but like you said, it's probably inflated a game or two strictly because of how much people like to bet the Cubs. Reds win total under over 64.5. People who left: pitchers Chase Anderson, Mike Minor, Art Warren, and Hunter Strickland. Position players Mike Moustakas, Aristides Aquino.
There you go.
I was like, I know his name. Fuck, I know it. Stephen Piscotty, Donovan Solano. Trades Kevin Newman, Casey look, I can't say that name, and Nick Solak. Free agency re-signings: Luke Weaver, Kurt Casale, Luke Malley, and Will Myers. Coaching changes: Joel McKeithen moved from assistant hitting coach to hitting coach. Terry Bradshaw and Tim Lamonte are the new assistant hitting coaches. Colin Cowgill is the new first base coach. Matt Tracy is the new bullpen coach. Under the radar minor league signings: Chad Pinner and Austin Romine. What grade are you giving these Reds?
Yeah, this is probably a D plus. Not just, when you think about who they added in the offseason, Will Myers, to a 1-year deal. So, this is probably a signing too, where if he starts going off, maybe by the trade deadline, you can flip him. So
that's exactly why they signed him.
Yeah, for sure. Everybody else that they acquired with Weaver and, Casale, I don't know. What I do like about this team, though, is the top of their rotation. Hunter Green and Lodolo, huge fans of those two. Ashcraft looked probably better, or probably looked worse than he actually is. And so for me, this win total is just too low for me. They're not going to contend. They have nowhere near, to me, enough offense to contend here. But for 64.5, yeah, give me the over here.
CBS Sports gave him a D. I ended up giving him a C minus. Losing Donovan Solano is a big deal to me in this top of the lineup. This guy knows how to play baseball. And like you said, Will Myers is a joke. But as long as he can stay on the field, he should have 30 bombs in that ballpark. Not adding any quality starting pitchers to a team with a bunch of young kids in their rotation to me says they're putting too much on these guys. Those guys being Green and Lodolo. I lean over after bashing the shit out of these guys, but at 64.5, to me, it seems right. But if these kids take a step forward, they should have 70 plus wins, like you were saying, if they take that next step up. And they've shown they're freaking beasts, bro. So I definitely don't hate it.
And you know what free agent would have looked or would have worked for sure and would have been a nice little PR thing too. What about Johnny Cueto? What about Cueto going back to Cincinnati, mentoring the young kids? You know, I didn't read any stories that they were even going after him. And so to your point, Sharpie, it's like now you got to rely on the youngins.
Yeah, after them having their career type years as a rookie, now they have no room for them to take a step back right now. It's like you're depending on these guys to get better. And it's like it's not always like that. You could hit a bump in the road. I don't know if Green will, but
yes, that man is a strikeout machine.
Lodolo is too, and he doesn't even have the velocity that Green has. So it's just
and then because when I think about those guys, being the 1 and 2 starters for this team, and they get to play the Cubs, then that many 14 times they get to play the team we're going to
Pirates.
I was going to say they get to play the team that we're going to talk about next, right?
Yeah, the last team in the world,
14 times. For me, with those factors, 64.5 wins. No, too low.
I don't hate it. I'll actually be looking towards their unders, not at Cincinnati, because I hate that ballpark. But let's get into the worst team that we have to talk about today. And maybe the second worst. They're right there with the Rockies. Actually, I'll say they're better than the Rockies. So Pirates win total under over 66.5. People who left: Zach Thompson, Bryce Wilson, and Tyler Beede. Position players: Miguel Andujar and Ben Gamble. Trades: Connor Joe, G-Man Choi, and Dari Moreta. Free agency re-signings: Andrew McCutchen, bum tour reunion, Austin Hedges, Rich Hill, Carlos Santana, Yarlin Garcia, and Vince Velasquez. No major changes to a coaching staff that has lost 100 games back-to-back seasons. Under the radar minor league signings: Tyler Chatwood, and Chris Owens. Chris, last team, what grade you giving them?
C plus, somewhere in that range. Nothing that I would say stands out as eye-popping. Nothing that stands out as saying like, what the fuck are they doing? I mean, but then you look up and down this lineup. The lineup overall looks weak, and you have Rich Hill and Vince fucking Velasquez on the same pitching staff. Good God.
Question. Would you rather have Rich Hill, Vince Velasquez, or Bryce Wilson and Zach Thompson?
Touche.
I mean, they may have got better, bro. They may have got better.
That's true. No, this lineup is a year or two away from being anywhere close to relevant. They're they're just too weak top to bottom. So for the win total, the only way I can go is under. I'm probably not even going to touch this one. I think they certainly can hit the under, but I just don't want anything to do with it.
Yeah, CBS Sports actually gave them an A minus. Once again, the guy who's giving out grades needs to be fired. But I did give him a C plus. I love the addition of Connor Joe and G-Man Choi to a team that struck out way too much last year. And Carlos Santana is still a big league hitter. So this young lineup did get better. And I know a lot of people were texting me like, oh, look at this strikeout lineup from Gods. And I'm like, Connor Joe and G-Man Choi don't strike out, dude. Those are dudes that ain't gonna fucking strike out. Those are dudes that are real professional hitters, especially versus lefties. Connor Joe is a fucking stud versus lefties. So they got better in certain spots. Is it gonna take time? Yeah. Like you said, they're trash starting pitching around. the end of the day, what is it? Brubaker and Contreras. Who's your
Contreras.
number one? Brubaker's your number one?
Has to be.
Yuck. Yeah, the win total's got to be under. I can't even name their top 5 starting pitchers, and if Vince Velasquez is one of them, I'll give Rich Hill some credit. Rich Hill will have good games and have bad games, but Vince Velasquez is just bad. Period, bro. Like, no, asinine that they even went out and got him. So another fade for me. When I get the chance, I will appreciate them for starting Vinny Velasquez as much as they will. It may be only 6 or 8 starts, but get in where you fit in. Shout out to you guys for coming in here. Smash the like. We're going to chop up every segment and make it available on Pub Sports. My guy, Chris Gargaro, I appreciate you. Where can they find you?
Yeah. Thanks for having me. Always love getting on and talking baseball. But find me on Twitter at SpinDocSports. Best season of the year. Can't wait for this baseball season. Is it April yet?
Is it April yet? Actually, no. No, it's 49 days away, but who's counting? I am, motherfuckers, I am. Shout out to you all. Like I said, I appreciate you guys. I'm Sharpie's Bets. This is the MLB guidebook to the National League 2022-2023 offseason. Next time you see me on a baseball program will be about strikeouts, because that's what I freaking care about. Until next time, I'm Sharpie's Bets. That's Chris Gargaro. And we out. We be pumping.